Hi, I'm Becky Davis with City TV, and welcome to Inside Santa Barbara, the city's only news magazine show. We bring you up to date on the city's most significant issues, projects, and events. Starting May 14th, Santa Barbara will join over 100 other communities across the state that have adopted a new ordinance to help keep our city and waterways clean. In our first story, we take a closer look at the ordinance and how it will impact our community. Each year, approximately 47 million plastic bags are distributed in the city of Santa Barbara alone. Less than 5% of those bags get recycled, meaning the majority of them end up in landfills, or worse, as litter that ultimately ends up in our waterways.
It's important to decrease the use of single-use bags in our community because for what they are, which is essentially a throwaway item, they have a real disproportionate impact both on our environment in terms of they end up in trees, they blow out of trash cans, so they do end up as litter quite easily because of what they are. And then ultimately for us as a beach community, they end up in the ocean where they do even more harm.
For this reason, among many others, City Council adopted the single-use carryout bag ordinance on October 15th of last year.
So the single-use carryout bag ordinance is an ordinance that the City Council adopted in October. It would ban the distribution of single-use plastic bags in grocery stores and small mini-marts. It would apply a 10-cent fee on paper bags for those that didn't opt to bring their own reusable bag, which is really the goal of the ordinance, is to encourage the use of multi-use bags instead of the single-use plastic bags that we have now. The funds that would be generated by that 10-cent fee would be retained by the store, not the city, in order to offset the cost of complying with the ordinance, like purchasing new bags that are recyclable and keeping track of how many that they distribute per year and things like that.
The ordinance defines single-use carryout bags as any bag made predominantly of plastic derived from petroleum, natural gas, or a biologically based source, such as corn or other plant sources, which is provided to a customer at the point of sale.
The bags that are being banned under this ordinance are really the traditional single-use plastic grocery bag that everybody's aware of. We do have exemptions in the ordinance, and a couple of those are the meat and produce bags that people will get at the grocery store. Those are exempt. Medication bags, because of privacy laws, those are exempt. And also carry-out bags from restaurants. Those are the primary exemptions that we would have.
Our consumers can actually bring plastic bags in. So if they've collected them over years and have them in a drawer, their junk drawer, they can bring them back and we'll actually bag their groceries in that. They can bring in a suitcase, they can bring in a laundry basket, they can actually just put it back like some retailers, they can actually put the products back in the basket and just push it out to their car. We'd prefer reusable bags though.
The ordinance will go into effect on May 14th for 18 large grocery stores and pharmacies throughout the city, and will be followed by smaller stores, including mini-marts and liquor stores, beginning November 14th.
Starting 2.5 years ago, since then we've had about 33 stores go plastic bag ban. At the beginning it was a little bit of a change for our consumers and our customers, but I think overall today, I think they've mainly accepted the plastic bag and know what's coming in the future.
Well, we actually do it a little bit differently than maybe some stores do. We start by hiding the plastic bags a week before we actually start the bag ban. And that helps our customers to become used to the fact that they won't have plastic available anymore while still having the option, if they so choose, to have it free of charge. Then, when we have the changeover to include a 10-cent per bag paper charge, it's not quite as much of a shock. So first, plastic will disappear. And then second, we'll start the paper bag fee.
There are a variety of ways for residents to buy affordable bags or even receive a free bag.
There is a provision in the law that people who are on food assistance programs do not have to pay for the bags. That's one thing. So they could still continue to get paper bags at stores free of charge.
If you'd prefer to bring your own bag, there are stores all over the city that have great prices on reusable bags.
Starting 7 days prior to the ban here in Santa Barbara, Albertsons will be having a program. For every $20 purchase you have, we will give you a reusable bag. Now, it's a very inexpensive bag, but for those that can't afford it, if they spend $20, if they spend $40, they'll get two. So for 7 days prior to and the 7 days after the ban, Albertsons will be giving away reusable bags to our customers.
There will be a lot of distribution of reusable bags by the city, by other groups over the next several months. And we've been doing that through the Where's Your Bag program since 2009. Already we've given out more than 10,000 bags. If you come to the Earth Day Festival in Alameda Park on April 26th and 27th, a lot of groups will be giving out reusable bags, including the City of Santa Barbara, Sprout Up, probably Channel Keeper. A lot of other groups will be providing bags to people who need them.
This isn't a new idea. Many other cities, such as San Jose and Los Angeles, have already implemented the ordinance and are seeing significant results.
So the first ordinance started in Calabasas, and that was in July 1st, 2011. That was a real learning experience for us because it was the first time that we had a reusable bag that needed to be implemented beyond just our normal Gelson's bag. So we brought in there a lower cost bag, which is 3 for $1, just in case somebody forgot the bag. I'd say the biggest challenge was in encouraging customers to remember to bring the bag in from their car or from their house to the store. So while we got the customers transitioned to remembering to bring their reusable bag, we made sure we had plenty of options available. After Calabasas, the rest of them have been relatively easy to implement.
Implementation of the ordinance in other places around the state has gone really smoothly. From a small town like Calabasas to a very large city like San Jose, we have talked to city staff in those places, and really it's been seamless. Within a few months of the ordinance going into effect, more than 90% of the people are bringing their own bags to the stores.
Adopting this new habit will ultimately benefit our entire community.
According to the Environmental Impact Report, this ordinance is expected to reduce plastic bag consumption in Santa Barbara by 90%. We currently use 47 million bags per year here, and this will take us down to fewer than 5 million. And 5 million is still enough for people to have bags for secondary uses like cleaning up after their dogs or taking their lunch to work.
Although implementation of the ordinance does not begin in Santa Barbara until May, many people are already on board. So I see that you've brought your own bag here. Why did you bring your own bag today?
Because, like, if you use plastic bags, sometimes you can not, like, reuse them, but, like, it can also pollute. So it's better to use regular bags. So, yeah.
I think a lot of people could actually, like, use reusable bags a lot more and like stop wasting so many bags. I mean, it's probably like in the thousands or something like every year that we like waste, you know, because people just throw them away. They don't even recycle them.
Definitely a good idea. I think it makes people think a little bit more about the waste and reusing things and recycling and all that. So not necessarily a bad thing unless you're not prepared.
If we're going to continue to extract fossil fuels, we should use them wisely, and plastic bags are not a wise use of fossil fuels when you consider that they're meant to be used once and then tossed, and more than 95% of them do not get recycled. So it's just not a practical product in today's world.
For more information on the single-use carry-out bag ordinance, visit santabarbaraca.gov/bags. The last few years have been some of the driest on record. Because of this, the city declared a Stage 1 drought in February. What does this mean for you? Stay tuned to find out.
The other issue of trying to conserve, as the message is here today, is going to save us money in the long run, big time, I think.
A Stage 1 drought condition was declared by the Santa Barbara City Council on February 11, 2014. The city is asking residents and businesses to reduce our normal water demand by 20% by conserving water wherever possible.
This is our first of 3 stages that the council could implement. This is a voluntary stage, but we are looking for the community to reduce their water usage by 20% to help extend the city's water supplies that we do have.
Santa Barbara is experiencing its 3rd consecutive dry year. 2013 marked the driest year on record at many locations across the state. On January 17th, Governor Jerry Brown declared a state of drought emergency in California and urged officials to take all necessary actions to prepare for drought conditions.
Part of that emergency put the city's water supplies, which include water outside of the area, state water, in jeopardy at this point, because basically the state is going to be reallocating that water based on need. And so being concerned about whether we would be considered a need or an urgent need, we wanted to make sure that council was aware that those sources of water could be reallocated to others. And so we thought moving forward quickly and starting to reduce our water usage would put us in the best position going forward.
Plans to address drought conditions are based on the city's 2011 water supply plan. The supply plan is based on historical drought periods. However, given the unprecedented record low rainfall across the state, the city is planning for changing conditions. A supply strategy has been developed, assuming continued lack of inflows to Gibraltar and Kachuma, combined with another year of no state water allocations. This drought strategy includes the purchase of water, the increased use of groundwater, enacting extraordinary water conservation efforts, and restarting the desalination plant is a consideration. Keep in mind these scenarios are projections for planning purposes only. Management decisions will depend on the actual amount of rainfall going forward. The city currently has adequate water supplies to meet demands this year, but due to the lack of rainfall, there's uncertainty about the availability of water in future years.
We receive surface water through Gibraltar and Kachuma. Gibraltar is expected to be empty this year. Kachuma is about 40% full. We also receive surface water through the State Water Project. This year, for the first time in the history of the project, the allocations are set to be 0%. Fortunately, the city has carryover water in San Luis Reservoir that we will be using to meet demands for this year. The city also has groundwater resources, which are very important during critically dry periods. And we also have a desalination facility. It has been in long-term storage mode, but we would bring it back online in an emergency situation. And of course, conservation is very important, and we're asking everyone to practice extraordinary conservation at this time.
Santa Barbara water customers have done a great job at saving water over the last 30 years, and everyone should be applauded for their efforts. Now, we need to reduce our normal water demand by 20% with extraordinary water conservation measures.
City residents and businesses can reduce their water use by 20% or more by taking two simple actions. 1, looking for leaks, and 2, checking their landscape water use.
A leaky toilet can waste 200 gallons per day.
What we encourage everyone to do is to check your toilet. Everyone should go home and to your business and take the top off the toilet. You can put a little food coloring in the tank, let it sit for 5 minutes or so. If you see the color of the food coloring come up in the bowl, you have a leak. Also, listen to the toilet. If you hear any kind of hissing or gurgling sound or anything, that's a leak.
Even a slow dripping faucet can waste up to 450 gallons per month.
One of the areas also to check is for drips. Look around your property, check all your faucets, all your hoses, your valves, anything where water could be leaking, and make sure that there's no drips or leaks.
About half of the water used in the city goes to watering landscape, and this area has the biggest potential for water savings. For comparison, an average 5-minute shower uses 10 gallons total, while watering an average lawn for 15 minutes uses 700 gallons.
The most important thing to do is to turn on the sprinklers in the day when you can see them. Make sure that you talk to your gardener if you have one, and better yet, go with them and turn on all the stations so that you can see every area that's being watered and check and make sure that the sprinklers are working properly. You can look for if they're spraying over onto the sidewalk or driveway. Sometimes sprinklers or drip emitters are broken or cracked. You want to just make sure that all of that is working properly. So check it out and then fix it. So once you've checked and make sure that all the sprinklers and drip irrigation are working properly, then you want to make sure that you're watering the right amount. First, you want to set a base watering schedule and make sure that that's an accurate base amount. And then you want to adjust from that so that you're watering the correct amount for how much water the plants need during that time. So for example, if it's during the winter,
you're going to be watering 20 to 30% of your base watering schedule. And in the spring, it would increase from there.
The city will help you with the free water checkup for your home or business. To schedule, call 805-564-5460.
We can give you suggestions on indoor and outdoor water conservation actions that you can take. And we have experts that can look at every possible water use that you have, including your landscaping and indoor, and helping you check for leaks. And that way you'll rest assured that you have done everything you can possibly do to help us save that 20% or more of water.
You know, for residents of Santa Barbara, being in drought-like conditions is nothing new. We've been here before. We can't change Mother Nature, but we can do what we can each and every day to try to conserve water wherever possible. And I just really encourage everyone along the South Coast, especially particularly Santa Barbara residents, to do what you can, even if it's just a small amount of saving water every day, but to do what you can to make it happen.
For more information on how you can save water, visit santabarbaraca.gov/waterwise. We'll be right back with more Inside Santa Barbara.
Meet the most fascinating man in the world. When droughts happen, water experts go to him for water-saving actions. His front lawn requires no water because he replaced it with WaterWise plants. He only works 2 days a week, and so do his sprinklers. He uses so little water, overwatered plants seek refuge in his yard.
I know a lot about saving water, but when I want to know more, I go to waterwisesp.org. Let's save together, my friends.
Some things are just plain simple, like flying in and out of Santa Barbara Airport. With 5 major airlines offering non-stop flights and one-stop connections to anywhere in the world, it's easy come, easy go. Enjoy casual and fine dining, or shop and get some work done while you wait. It's everything a big city airport can offer, in the comfort of your own backyard. Santa Barbara Airport. Easy come, easy go.
Welcome back. You may have noticed an increased police presence around town lately. This is part of the police department's community-oriented policing program. In our next story, we learn more about the program and how it's benefiting our community.
Thank you.
It's not the most unusual place to see a police officer.
Good morning. Can I get a cup of coffee?
In fact, it's quite ordinary. But these particular cops and these particular Welcome back. coffee-serving You establishments may have noticed an are increased here for police more than presence a good cup around of town Joe. lately. They're This here is to part of listen the to police you. department's It's community-oriented called the Coffee with the policing Cop program. and In it's our one next of the story, we programs learn that more fits about into the police program and department's how it's philosophy benefiting of our community. Community-oriented policing. The goal is to improve communication between the police department and the community.
It sort of goes back to the old-fashioned way of doing policing, really, and getting out of the police car and, you know, actually conversing with people and not waiting for them to call us for an emergency or a call for service.
Coffee shops have become kind of a venue to relax, hang out. It's very casual. Some people come and they just want to hang out with us. Other ones have specific concerns.
And those persons that they decided to move in a lot of people there. So it's like 13 or 15
It was pretty
people
bad.
in there.
The police department also reaches out through its new community policing office located in the Franklin Center on the east side.
Over the course of many years of doing community-oriented policing projects, I found that we've often had the greatest success when we've taken that work out of the police department downtown and done it in the neighborhoods that we're trying to serve.
The department brings these services to where people live as a way to collaborate with residents.
I know what I think is important as a police officer as far as problems that need to be addressed. But not being someone that lives, for example, here on the east side, I might be out of touch with regard to specific issues that are really impacting the residents that live here. And so it's good to have that collaboration, and when we empower residents to help us set law enforcement priorities in the neighborhoods that they live in, we build on that relationship and ultimately we better serve our public.
And so far, the neighborhood has welcomed the department's presence on the east side.
How you been?
All right.
How's business?
Okay.
Being here and having them come in and say, hi, you know, I didn't know you were here, or I come to look for you, and it's cool because now I know that they want to do something, they want to report things, and I think that it's a good thing for the community, and that they're looking for us.
Another program that the department uses to deliver services is through beat coordinators.
We are responsible for the quality of life issues, some of the problems that are not necessarily 911 right now calls, whether it's neighbors that are disputing over something that they need some help in mediating, or whether we have certain areas that just need more attention than others. We get calls and complaints that aren't first responder type calls, but calls that do need some attention.
And on the downtown beat, this attention in many cases involves our transient population.
One of the things that I do is I contact them. I know most of them, I know all their names, I know how long they've been here. When I see people I don't recognize, I go and introduce myself. I get their names, I get their pictures, so they're in the system, so that I know who's in my area, I know who's in my beat. So when we get a call that says, you know, somebody that looks like this, wearing this shirt, did that, I go, oh, I know who that is.
The beat coordinators communicate directly with business owners who serve as block captains to address issues.
So I say you can never call us too much, and also you can never email me too much, because it's, you know, if you're having a problem, whether it's legal or not, maybe there's a transient that's bothering them that's panhandling in front, that's not illegal, right? It's a nuisance, it's loitering, but it's not illegal. But sometimes I can go talk to them and say, we need you to move along, the business is, you know, causing problems, can you move somewhere else? And then, you know, that's something that just solves the problem.
An increased police presence is part of the city's problem-solving strategy downtown, and a major component of that presence is the restorative policing program. Through this program, police officers, outreach specialists, and social service providers work as a team to connect chronically homeless individuals with the services they need, helping them to achieve self-sufficiency. The goal is to break the cycle of incarceration, citation, and addiction, and ultimately get people into housing.
None of these people really prefer to be living like that. There are just so many things that have gone wrong along the way, so many missteps, so many wrong turns, that it's difficult for them to unravel it.
And by the police department building upon these personal relationships established with downtown businesses, along with the Eastside Community Policing Office and the Coffee with a Cop program, these connections are paying off.
It's awesome. Having the beat coordinator program reinstituted back onto the police force has been great, because what it does is it allows that beat coordinator or that police officer to really understand what's happening in that region. They get into it, they get the feel of the neighborhood, they get the feel of the area, they're there all the time, they get to know the people. It's definitely the best thing to have, is to have a foot patrol on State Street.
To find out who your beat coordinator is, or to learn more about the community policing program, call 897-2300. Letting something slip through the cracks usually carries a negative connotation, but that's not the case when it comes to stormwater runoff. Up next, City TV's Nagin Amuzagar shows us the power of permeability and how it's being employed at 4 locations in the city.
1, 2, 3, and off you
go.
Right.
There you go. Say hello to the future of stormwater runoff management. The City Creeks Division recently completed its stormwater infiltration project, removing approximately 100,000 square feet of asphalt and replacing it with permeable pavers in the parking lots of the West Side Neighborhood Center, Stevens Park, and Oak Park.
One of the biggest problems we have with creek and ocean water quality in the city of Santa Barbara is non-point source pollution, which is runoff pollution from impermeable surfaces like roads, sidewalks, driveways, and parking lots. And what happens is when it rains, or when we have what we call a nuisance flow, which is irrigation overspray or somebody washing down their driveway or something like that, they wash the pollutants off the surface of those impermeable areas, and those pollutants are washed into the storm drains and into the creeks and ocean untreated.
That runoff, especially if it hasn't rained in a while, is typically a toxic brew of bacteria, heavy metals, and hydrocarbons, all of which can be harmful to wildlife and humans alike. So the Creeks Division's goal for the infiltration project was to capture the runoff before it reaches the creeks.
So what we've done is replace the impermeable asphalt in several city parking lots with a permeable concrete pavers. These are basically concrete bricks that have gaps in between the bricks that allow water to wash off the surface of the brick but then go straight down into the soil where the pollutants can be naturally treated by microbes in the soil.
Directly underneath the pavers are 12 to 18 inches of rock material, which enables the system to handle a 3-inch rainstorm without any runoff leaving the site. And since the pavers are made of high-strength concrete, they can support large vehicles like trash and fire trucks, all the while requiring less maintenance than asphalt.
One of the things with asphalt is it has to be maintained quite regularly. So asphalt gets laid out first. Every 5 or 6 years, they come in and they have to reseal it with another layer of slurry seal, they call it. It's kind of an oil layer. And then after about 25 years, the asphalt's degraded enough to where they have to regrind it down and pave it again. And so these permeable concrete pavers are designed to last 60, 80 plus years. And so once we've installed this, you really don't have to come in again for a long time.
The project, which is considered a low-impact development design, has water supply implications as well.
The idea behind that is restoring the natural hydrology of a site, and that's kind of like if it was a grass field. This is the same kind of thing. The rainwater falls, it percolates in the ground, recharges that water, treats the water, so it can naturally get to the creek as a clean spring water.
The Stormwater Infiltration Project was funded in part by a grant agreement with the State Water Resources Control Board and by Measure B, a 2% hotel bed tax approved by city voters in 2000 to improve creek and ocean water quality.
Communities throughout the state are struggling to figure out how they're going to extend water supply through as the dry period continues. And so it's a priority for the state to invest in projects that enable communities to extend their water supply through dry periods such as this. That's one reason, but also to implement projects that more mimic natural water processes, because then that creates more sustainability, not just in water supply, but in the natural heritage and in the ecosystem that also sustains Californians.
While permeable pavers are a low-tech solution to runoff pollution, Santa Barbara is one of the first communities to install them on a large scale.
I would say Santa Barbara is a leader in the state of California when it comes to pushing the envelope in their investments in water infrastructure to achieve multiple benefits that I just described. And I think a lot of other communities can learn from what Santa Barbara is learning as you implement these projects.
The Creeks Division will continue to look for more opportunities to install permeable pavers throughout the city. For more information on the infiltration projects, visit sbcreeks.org. The Parks and Recreation Department offers a variety of programs specifically targeting at-risk youth. Up next, City TV takes a look at a few of these programs that give kids positive alternatives.
Okay, so today, as Ian said, we're making different appetizers and soup.
City Parks and Recreation, we're all about prevention. And in particular, when we're talking about the youth that are most at risk of going down the wrong path in life, it's programs that are really designed to engage those kids in positive activities and building positive relationships.
The skinnier the stalk, the more tender the asparagus will be.
Our culinary arts program is a credit recovery program for high school students who need some extra credit to graduate from high school. So essentially the city partners with the school district to identify those students and then bring them in and give them culinary skills, work with a professional chef, and actually come away with some decent skills and employable skills.
The art class is geared to teach the kids to have a snapshot of the whole food industry.
It's an opportunity for me to learn different ways of cooking, different styles, different cultures, and I am planning on pursuing a career in this field.
We're able to employ some of those cooking from scratch type of strategies for kids so they can take those things home, show their parents, hey, instead of using lard, we're using olive oil, you know?
All the healthy stuff they cook, I would much rather enjoy cooking that than going and eating at McDonald's, Jack and stuff like that.
All right, so who's interested? Who wants a job? Who wants to apply?
The jobs that kids did 30, 40 years ago don't exist anymore. The groceries, working in the grocery stores, mowing the lawns, delivering the newspaper. So we have to be a little bit more creative in how we help kids become employable or understand the idea of what it is to be employed.
And our Youth Apprentice program is actually teaching these young people how to work, how to get a job, how to be successful in the workplace, so how to keep a job.
The concept is to provide youth with mentoring opportunities. They get hired and they actually get paid to learn on the job. And these are, again, jobs within the city in various different departments.
It prepared me, it gave me a lot of hands-on opportunities. I had customer service. I started learning customer service there. It was my first job I've ever had. It also helped me, I started learning a little bit about payroll. It kind of guides you and then they mentor you to continue education. I really liked it, so I mean, I'm sure other people would like it as well.
With the Santa Barbara Arts Alliance program, what it does, it gives youth that are interested in the arts an opportunity to come and train as a group or on an individual basis with local artists.
You know, the Arts Alliance program is really a program that really promotes public art from the neighborhood perspective, from the neighborhood level. And that's a very unique situation that you have young people, young adults, children that are producing public art in our community.
My experience is that every time we do a mural, it doesn't get tagged anymore. Because even gang members, they respect the art. I love it. It makes Santa Barbara more beautiful. We get to work with the kids and we get to talk with the community.
What we're doing is working because it's relevant to the kids, it's relevant to the community, and it creates not only a sense of place for the kids, but also a sense of place for the community itself.
So for us, we start on the front end, getting kids involved in activities that are safe, healthy, productive, help them form positive relationships.
And that's what the programs do. They provide them with alternatives, whether it's the job that keeps them off the street, or whether it's the one-on-one advising. And sometimes that's all it takes for them to make the right choices and for them to move on their own.
To learn more about any of these programs or how you can get involved, call 564-5431. Well, that does it for this episode of Inside Santa Barbara. If you have questions or comments about the show, you can give us a call at City TV at 564-5311. You can also watch the show online at citytv18.com. I'm your host, Becky Davis, and remember to get involved inside Santa Barbara.